Well, they only had confession in Italian. And so I had to look up. My Google search must have been weird. I had to look up the Italian words for various, sins and stuff. And I was just
confess something you've never done before.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I have to. Well, there's a separate story I know from a priest who heard confessions in Italian, but he was mixing up what the Italian words were.
Oh, awesome.
And so
goodness.
He
God's
thought,
grace. Yeah.
he was like, what is wrong with all these people?
Whole village.
Yeah, whole village. Because he had, but anyway, that's
How is everybody killing everybody?
Yeah.
And I'm still hearing their confession.
BeatiDudes! Hello and welcome back to the BeatiDudes, a podcast for Christian men seeking to grow in holiness and laughter, love and laughter, humor and holiness, all of the above. My name is Paul Kolker, and I am joined by my co-hosts Nicholas Bezner.
What's going on?
And Jeffrey Schiefelbein.
Up and away, Paul.
That's right. And again, this is a podcast for Christian men seeking to grow in holiness, learning from and with each other, sharing stories, asking each other questions, going deeper, trying to have good, wholesome, holy conversation.
A near occasion of comedy.
And it is often a near occasion of comedy. That's right. One you don't have to confess, though. We're back with Grep Price, who on the Monday episode told us all about the Pines Catholic Camp out in East Texas.
Big Sandy.
Yes, so some of you may have sent your kids there already. Some of you may have never heard of it before. So if you want to find out a little bit more about the incredible experience that is the Pines, go back, watch that Monday episode, share it with a friend, sign your friends up for the family camp, and just all of you drive out there together. That's a reference to the Monday episode. Mm-hmm. But Greg, welcome back.
Welcome back, buddy.
Glad to be back.
Yeah.
Everybody's excited.
And I think we're calling this one kind of a spiritual potpourri. We're putting the Pope in potpourri.
Oh, yes.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask. We're gonna sit around the metaphorical campfire.
It's gonna be like a lodge podge.
That's
similar.
Yep. That is, yes. I don't even know what to do with that. Wow, you threw a wrench in my gears. But we're gonna sit around the spiritual campfire. Just ask each other some questions. Just go deep together. I don't know why I'm George together. W. Bush all of a sudden.
Here's a first question for you.
Yeah.
Do you know the song Big Sandy? And I know he knows it, but do you know the song Big Sandy?
I don't know.
You played at camp. You
I
know
wouldn't
this
know.
song?
I wouldn't know the tune.
Oh man, my kids came back, and I can't play it because I'm sure it's copyrighted, but I can sing. I can sing it.
Well,
you literally, they came back, and Lorelai was like, "There's a whole dance. It's like Big Sandy, it's big and it's sandy, Big Sandy, Texas." It's like stuck in my head all the time.
I've never heard that song.
Oh, dude, we might have to pause the show and listen to Big Sandy. We'll listen to it afterwards.
Okay,
we'll celebrate over a coffee.
That's it.
All right,
Go
well,
Google.
that was my super spiritual question.
great question.
Like Google Big
No,
Sandy,
I've never
Texas,
heard of
the
it.
song. It's obnoxious, like me,
Yeah.
Can't wait.
but it will get stuck in your head.
I've got one.
Like me.
We had a cool experience today. Father Edwin came up here and said mass in John Heinen, Catholic Gentleman's new studio.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So that was just cool.
I missed it. I was doing
dude.
business.
You were doing business things. Business meeting. Anyways, it was really cool. And my question would be what's a cool or unique mass experience that you've had?
Sweet question. Yeah. And you got a brother father, so you got some cool
I've
ones.
got another one that I can share just while y'all are thinking.
Why don't you start with that, and we'll all
Yeah.
think of a good or unique mass experience we've
Well,
had.
I could share the one
Sure.
about my brother father.
Yeah.
Or father brother.
Father brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the right way.
Yeah, my brother's a priest, and so it's actually pretty cool. I mean, the circumstances were less than ideal because what happened was I got to go on a hiking trip with him, a friend of mine, another priest. So it was just kind of a hiking trip with the four of us, and that was a blessed experience. But apparently, I was sick with something as I showed up that then rapidly spread through the rest of the group. I don't know what I had. I don't think it was COVID or anything like that. I had already had that years before. But some sort of flu or cold or something that just went nuts. And yeah, so then when Kevin came home from that with us, he stayed at our house And so, because he didn't want to go back to the rectory and get the other priest
get
sick.
everybody else sick.
So we had daily mass at our house for like 5 days
Oh,
straight
that's
while
awesome.
he and I recovered.
the shut-in daily mass.
Yeah, but it was just incredible. It's like, oh
That's
man, this
cool.
is so rich, and it's just cool that it's my brother too. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Very
a
Does he
cool.
let you like cantor for him and stuff?
Well, I didn't really sing, but I did do the readings, so
There we go.
he let me do that. He played to my strengths. So.
There you go. There
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go. You know, mine that had came to mind when you asked that was the biggest miracle in my life happened from Benny's first lumbar puncture to his second. We did this cool healing prayer with Father Ken Geraci, but that actually happened at the YCP conference after Mass there, sitting on the ground. But he came over to the house later and actually said Mass again. And my parents were there. My mother-in-law was there. And it was just really neat to be, and you know how this works. Like if you're in your own living room having Mass and you're like, whoa, this is neat. And he celebrates Mass when he's like that, facing the altar for every part unless he's speaking to you. So it's like I don't know what you call this, like ambidextrous Mass.
Well, I think the way I've heard it called these days is like spiritual ad orientem, right? So it's like, because I mean, way back when it was the priest always faced the east where the rising sun, all of that. So
Ambidextrous.
yeah, that's it.
Yes, that's the proper Latin term.
And my kids were going bananas in the other room, and like to the point where it's a little bit distracting. I don't know if you've ever been around a Schiefelbein kid. They're obnoxious.
I'm ready for the tornado.
They're obnoxious intellects.
Yeah.
But what was so neat is right when we got to the consecration, the kids just went completely silent, and it felt like a spiritual moment.
A very
Very
reverent
cool.
moment.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very, very cool.
I was muffling them. Just kidding. What about you?
Well,
Eagle?
I got to say that I just got to go to Mass with Bishop Kelly coming to the Tyler
yeah.
Diocese, so I got to be at his installation. But that's
cool.
that's my alternate pick. But
Sure.
Ever been to a bishop installation Mass?
that was my
before?
first one.
Yeah, I've never
Whoa.
been
It was
to
a big deal for
bishop
me.
installation.
Big day.
Yeah.
There were 30 bishops on the altar, which was incredible.
That's
Cool.
wild.
It was really neat to see all the priests that have come through the camp. But there were 15 friends of camp, and then a young man that I coached way back then, Father Brett Metzler, is the vocations director in the Fort Worth Diocese. And He was
Cool.
there 'cause
Wow.
He got to drive the bishop of Fort Worth over to that, so
Cool.
I got to see him, which is always a pleasure.
That's
but
cool.
we were up at Blackhawk Ranch up in Nakona. Steve Black owned a ranch up there, and he would have these man work weekends. And so we drove up there, and Father Justin Braun happened to be there, and he said, "Guys, can we have Mass?" And so he went inside and prepared the altar, which was the island of the kitchen, and we had
Yeah.
Mass right there in the
That's
kitchen
awesome.
of the Blackhawk Ranch, which was really cool with all my Axe brothers, if you saw the
Super
first day.
cool.
So, yeah.
Super cool.
Makes
That's
me
pretty
want to take a priest next time we go to our work weekend at my in-laws' ranch.
Yeah.
I mean, we go into whatever that German town's called. It's really
Luckenbach?
famous. No,
Munster?
No, the big one. Everybody goes and they go shopping. What's the place called? Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we
okay.
go to a really beautiful
Yeah.
Mass there, but I like doing the ranch Mass. That sounds all right to me. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. What do you got, big guy?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Sure.
King.
Yeah.
Illuminate
Thank
us.
you. Illuminating King.
We had Father Chris Alar, a guest on the show, and my father-in-law got him, on his flight and with his companion, I guess, brother Mark, and then we all went to the Dallas Cowboys Detroit Lions football game that night after recording the show, and in between we said Mass in our living room at our house, which was the first time I'd had it like in my house, or we never did it in my parents' house. Like it was just like the first like home Mass experience, like seeing my girls who were like 4 and 2 at the time. Like it was just awesome.
That's sweet.
It was just awesome.
These like very
Then he
special
blessed,
places.
then he blessed the house afterward. Like it was just
Yeah.
awesome.
So all of these are second to our weddings, though, correct, fellas?
Correct. Well, of
So
course.
Those,
Of
were, those were
course.
number
Sir,
one
yes,
for
sir.
sure. Right?
Yes.
All on board for that.
Correct.
Good job, coach.
Of course. Well, yes, yes. It goes without saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We all know.
That's what I was thinking.
Indeed, it
but-
almost did.
Do you know? So I'll ask a question about spouses. What is a gift? And I always hate saying your number one gift you've ever given.
Yeah,
What's a
yeah.
gift that you think you did a great job in either the surprise, the meaningfulness, the connection to the love language, whatever it is, and maybe that it'll inspire the men out there to be great men. I got one because it's my question, so
Sure.
I know this will give you a chance to kind of ruminate in your head. You can pretend to listen to me. 1 year, Amanda was, I got to get this right. This must have been the year 20, when was my kid born? 12. I decided that I would write in a journal every single day without telling her a letter to her for 365 days.
Wow.
And then on her birthday, hand it to her. So it started in 12 and finished in 13. And the reason I know that is because it journals about half of the pregnancy of our first child. But that wasn't like I knew I was going to be doing that. It was more like I would just write every day. I would date it. Some days were longer than others. Some were more specific than others. But it was like, I'm going to write every day. And it's almost like a look back.
Yeah.
It cost me nothing, by the way. It was like the cheapest, like $4 for this little journal.
Sure.
Well, yeah.
So, and that's what I was really going for. What's something that will take me all year? It only cost me $4.
But be cheap. Got more time than money right now.
That's right. It's 100%. So it was just really neat, and it's something that you get to kind of flip back through and be like, oh yeah, this is the day we found this out and this out about
Cool.
our lives, you know,
Yeah.
like our newly married lives. So that's one.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got one that was, I guess it was just over a year ago, our 5th anniversary trip, and I just put together like a slideshow of, I don't know, probably like 100 photos from the first 5 years of being married.
Yeah.
And figured out a way to show it on the TV in our hotel room in New York, and then we went to dinner afterwards. Like, it was just awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Free.
Also free.
Yeah.
The dinner was not free. Very, very not free in New York City. So I had to
little more than $4.
when you averaged it out, I was like, that was a good gift and then a normal dinner.
See, but that's the thing. They're like the experience,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like
right.
paying the money for the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a memory that you're investing in versus.
Correct.
I mean, some things can be meaningful. Don't get me wrong, but like
course.
versus just buying a
Totally
thing
agree.
to buy a thing.
Oh, we think about that trip to New York all the time. We
Yeah.
talk about it all the time.
yeah, that's incredible.
So fun.
So good.
What do you
I'm
guys know?
next.
Yeah, go, if you have
No,
something.
you go. And then,
Okay.
I think I know where I'm going. But
You're
I'm
going to
not
bring the
100%.
sunshine at the end of your...
There you go. Yeah. Well, so it was my now wife's birthday, but I didn't tell her I was going to do this. I proposed on her birthday that year.
Good gift.
Right. So I was like,
You get me.
I was sweating bullets the entire dinner, but then after dinner, popped the question.
She was totally surprised.
Yeah. I mean, I think she probably knew sometime in the
Yeah.
near future it was on its way, but I don't think she knew it was going to be at her birthday dinner. We were at Perry's Steakhouse, which was one of our first dates as
Yeah.
well, so it was kind of a full circle thing.
Also free. The proposal part.
Well, actually,
Well,
no.
There's a ring with it.
Yeah. Generally,
Very
that costs
expensive.
a lot. Probably the biggest
Very expensive.
single
The words.
costs of
Please,
it.
The
please
sentiment.
don't. Yeah. Please don't tell her that the ring was only $4. No. It was,
But you worked on it for a year.
yeah. I chiseled it myself.
My wife found out I was going to propose to her, so I had to throw off the trail.
Oh.
So under the Christmas tree, I put a little Tiffany's box with that Tiffany's blue, and she opened it up in front of everybody, and it was a pearl bracelet, and she was furious.
Oh, you did that on purpose?
You've never seen a
Mess
more
with
like
ya.
furious person getting a pearl bracelet from. It was a Tiffany's bracelet, but I had to do it after
Jeff.
I had handed her my phone on a drive, and I was like, "Can you read these emails to me?" And I'll be a monkey's uncle if one of the guys in my old company didn't say, "I'm so excited about your upcoming engagement." And I'm like, "Give me the phone." Oh my gosh, why is this in the middle of this email? Why would you ever write this to me?
Don't put that stuff in print.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Get it in writing.
Learn
What do
that. Hey, learn that too.
Learn that.
So I bought my wife a marquee ring for our engagement and had really sharp edges on it. And when she was pregnant with our first, she was really concerned about wearing that ring while she was pregnant or while she had her baby and changing
Yeah.
or whatever. It might scratch, and it really could. And so she was concerned about it. My daughter was born in January. So for Christmas that year, I bought her just a little white gold band that was I'm pretty certain it was only $75. She wears that all the time. I'm like, you've got to wear the real ring, or else everybody's gonna think I'm the cheapest guy in the state of Texas.
Amen.
And so she's like, I totally forget. I like the way she
used
cried.
to it now. Yeah.
She cried when she opened it up, and then just
That's
really
so
made
thoughtful.
it
Yeah,
really made it
exactly.
permanent. Really became her permanent ring for the most part.
Wow.
Many years after changing diapers. So I guess it was a pretty good gift.
Dudes, take note of all this stuff. We're awesome husbands.
We are awesome. And now you know how you can be awesome like us.
That was what we were going
That's the
for.
takeaway.
Oh my
That's the
god.
name of the show. Be awesome like us. You got any questions, you two? Right, you just asked that one. No, I asked that one. That was me.
Yeah, you asked
Who
that one.
asked that question?
Okay,
Who's on first?
I have a question, but I don't even know if I have an answer to this yet. But
My favorite type of question.
it bubbled up. Who is somebody who influenced your faith journey that you didn't realize maybe at the time, like helped steer you on that path?
Yeah, it's like it wasn't obvious to you, but it had a huge impact on your faith journey.
In retrospect, you realize that they really steered you in a good direction.
Man, that's a tough question.
I've got an interesting,
Go
just
for it.
immediate reaction. Like my dad's dad, my grandfather Weldon, in very indirect ways, is what I would say. In his like very much like Depression era, like stoic older man, like, but in the back of church on Wednesday nights doing the novena to Our Mother Perpetual Help and singing, Immaculate Mary, and like always having like a basket full of finger rosaries as his like, hey, do you need one of these? Do you need one of these? Just always handing out finger rosaries, like nothing specific, but just like that overall like devotion to the church and like making sure that his kitchen window was like perfectly positioned to see St. Peter's, and like the dining or the kitchen table, like you could sit at it and see the church, because it's like that's what matters. Just all those little things. Never
really
one
cool.
Never one thing, but just the totality of that. I
Yeah.
think.
Wow, that's powerful.
I like had this time in my early career. Like I knew I'd be serious about faith when I was retired, and that it was just gonna be this straight line trajectory to being the usher at the church. And then it kept like getting stronger faster, and I'd be like, whoa, am I ready for this? Like I just felt like there was this plunge moment of like, you're never going back if you cross some sort of a great divide of like, you talk about this a lot. And I started getting, I'm gonna say bold, but more like bold that I didn't just believe it internally, I was believing it externally too. And the one when I just heard you talking that came to mind that I don't think I expected, and that he probably doesn't realize it, is Rob Hayes. And it was like I was watching this guy who made me realize that you could be authentically everything that I felt like I was internally and still just be successful maybe in business and likable. But it was funny because I also just wanted to be his friend, so I was trying not to be like, teach me, oh Rob. So
Shepherd me, oh Rob.
And luckily, I mean, there was a lot of opportunities to sit there and learn from him and from people around him, just because there was like this movement of like, let's get together and talk about things that matter. So,
My wife had just to piggyback on that. Like the first time I think she met Rob, we were at your house, and he just said something about like, well, of course I want to just go spend time with our Lord, and like just like the way that the words that he used, brother's like, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Like, let's just hang out with him.
Yeah.
Like, kudos.
that's when you stop coming to my house.
That's when I started going to the other house on your street, Rob's house.
No, but there's something so profound about like just that comfort in the Lord that doesn't have to be like, is this the right time? No, it just is, I literally, every person I get off the phone with that's like helping me, I transferred some money into the bank account for the business. And at the end, I'm like, God bless you. And they're like, oh, hey,
You
thank
too.
you. Yeah, you too.
I
Like,
know.
but it's not like there was no faith conversation.
Right.
It's just like drinking water. God bless you.
It's awesome.
But
I'd say
about.
a Baptist minister
right on.
named Mark Bowles. He was, I don't know that I ever saw that coming. He was my head coach. He was my mentor, and
Sure.
God rest his soul, love him. And what his impact on my life was just a love for the word itself, right? That word is a lamp unto my feet, right? And a light unto my path. Psalm 119. But man, I went to work for him and had no idea what was in store for me for the next 18 years. And just love him, miss him every day. Died in a motorcycle accident, and I missed him every day. But yeah, the Baptist minister had that kind of impact. But it can come from anywhere, right? So, short answer, but that's it.
That's great.
That's great.
I love it.
Okay, I think I've realized who it is.
You asked the question, I want to circle around.
Yeah. Thank you guys for falling on that sword. No, so my maternal grandfather's brother, so my great uncle Ed, my parents are going to laugh when they hear this because he would come and like spend time with our family, but he was, I don't know if he ever was like officially consecrated, but he just was single his whole life, maybe dated or whatever growing up. I don't know his full story, but he just never married. Had a dog, lived in he had like a trailer behind his truck.
Yeah.
And just lived like a pretty simple life, but he would show up at our house every so often, like just as, I guess, part of his road tripping or whatever he was doing. But he would share stories about, getting into these, like either debates or discussions on the faith and stuff. And I remember him saying one time, like, no, we need to wear crucifixes and crosses because, like, people need to see that there are Christians out there. And this was also at a time when you had all the like Richard Dawkins, new atheism.
Yeah, sure.
New atheism movement and all that. So he was kind of, I think, pushing back on some of that. But just something about that, like he was so clearly on fire, maybe a little mentally unstable, but like, no, I mean, like, he was a nut, but you could tell he was just like on fire for the Lord. And there was something.
There's a role to play for people on the edge too. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm kind of giving him a hard time, but my mom would probably say something like that too.
I actually feel kindred spirits with him.
Yeah, like he was a little, little wild, but you could just tell that he really cared about the faith.
Look at that impact. Like somebody that could have been written off for being a little wild is the person that's coming to your mind on this question. That's incredible.
Yeah. So
awesome. I love this question. Good one. We got any questions for us, Eagle?
Okay, I got one. Very similar to the mass question on where'd you experience mass in a different way that was incredible. How about reconciliation? Anybody have a reconciliation story that's kind of outside the norm of going into church and waiting in line and whatever? So
I have one that comes to mind way fast. This is almost a year ago. And my life, everybody knows, flipped upside down with Benny, with brain cancer, with this, with that. And there was a Sunday. I lived 5 minutes from St. Anne's. We couldn't pull off getting to Mass with everything going on. It was just, my life felt like the bottom fell out. And I remember during that week texting with Father Edwin. I'm like, I've got to see you. Or I was trying to meet up with one of the legionary priests. I'm like, I need to go to confession because I really don't want to miss out on the Eucharist. Like I need the Eucharist so much right now. We all do, but I'm just saying I just was longing for it right then. So I said, we were all trying to work out schedules. It didn't work. Sunday, I'm carrying Avi. She's like a year and a half at the time. I'm carrying Evelyn up to the front. And I get in Father Edwin's line with my family. And when I get to the front, I bow my head and just put my other hand across my chest to receive a blessing. And I close my eyes and I feel his hand touch my shoulder. And I think to myself, like, what a great priest. He's going to give me a blessing, but he's going to touch me so that I can feel like the connection to my pastor. He touches me and he goes, Jeff, will you please consider taking the Eucharist right now? And as soon as Mass is over, we'll slip away and I'll hear your confession real quick and you can go on about your day. And I open my eyes, and this is in regular church and regular Mass and regular everything. And I'm already crying. Now I am just bawling. And I take the Eucharist and I'm holding Avi and I'm shaking. And I look over and Luis Gonzalez is bawling, crying, watching this. He doesn't even know what words were just said. And I'm walking back and I just feel this like overwhelming grace. And then when Mass is over, the receiving line and all the blessings and birthday prayers and everything he does, he looks at me and he points at the confessional. And we walk in there, we knock it out, hug, and then we get on with it. And I was like, what a pastor. What a pastor. He knew exactly what I needed in that moment.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. He. Felt like Santa Claus. In that
Yeah.
moment.
No, you could tell.
Go
Like,
back to the Monday episode.
So I'll go next. So you guys are thinking.
Yeah,
about
sure.
it. We were sitting around a campfire one night, which is one of the coolest things in the world to do, right?
Amen.
Just watch wood burn. It's awesome. Primal instinct going on, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Grown man stuff going on.
Yes.
But we were sitting around a campfire and we're talking, we're having a good time. And I'm talking to Father James Flynn from St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, who had been up at ICC, had been at Thomas Aquinas and Pilot Point and St. Francis and Grapevine. Now he's at Seas. And we were sitting around talking, and I just somehow in the midst of our conversation, I turned to him and said, the last time I had confession was with you. And he goes, well, that's too long. I was like, I know, I got you. I understand. I said, we got Action Treat coming up, and the team has to go to reconciliation before they go. So yes, sir, I'll get it done. He goes, let's go now.
Yeah.
And we just took off walking in the dark, in the countryside, and he was phenomenal. It was just a phenomenal time of reconciliation. What a vessel that the Lord used in Father Flynn, which is an amazing story in itself. Former Army sniper, atheist that heard the audible voice of the Lord. You're going to be a Catholic priest. And he did it. And we're the beneficiaries of it, right? So was just one of the coolest scenes that I've ever been a part of as far as within the faith itself, that it doesn't have to be in a box.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Way too many of us in the Catholic faith just check the box, right? When it comes to our faith. I went to Mass. I checked the box. And that's one of the things that I learned from the Acts Retreat. It's not about checking the box. It's about jumping in and making sure that you do the things that you absolutely, all the trappings and the depth of the church that we want to take part in, right? So that was a cool
I love
moment.
that. I'd heard snippets of his story before, but never that succinct of like what he
Cool.
went through to be
Yeah.
a Catholic priest.
He
Fascinating.
Another part of that story, he was sitting at a drive-through getting something to eat, and he was sitting behind what he considered to be his dream car, the Dodge Stealth. If you guys probably
Yeah,
too,
I remember it.
yeah,
I'm like
pretty
you.
incredible
I got
car,
a lot of gray.
right? And he's sitting there and he's waiting like, goodness gracious, what's going on? And he actually had just heard the audible voice of the Lord, right? And he ignored it, like, I don't want to hear that. And so he's sitting there, and he's going to be a commodities trader. That was his goal once he left and get into the business world. And he's sitting there, and he's waiting, and he's waiting, and he's waiting. And it turns out the Stealth in front of him was broke down. And it kind of resonated with him. Like, that's his dream car. And now all of a sudden that car is broke down. And it resonated with him. So he goes around it or whatever, and he's driving down the road again, and he hears it again. But that's part of the story, right?
That's cool.
Wow.
It's just a car.
I hope
Yeah.
I'm telling it correctly. It's
That's
been
cool.
Been a little while.
At the Seek conference, I'm looking for confession. I see a priest. I was like, hey, is confession happening here? It was supposed to be at noon. He's like, oh, they canceled it at noon. They moved it all to tonight. But there's going to be like 100 priests, so it'll move quick and whatever. I'm like, well, I'm going to be on an airplane. I won't be able to go tonight. And he's like, well, let's just go right now. I'm like, that was just like in the middle of a conference room or like, big gallery, whatever, and 20,000 college students. And we're just like, all right, let's just tuck around the corner over here and hear a confession.
That's
That
awesome.
was very cool.
Yeah.
How about right now? Cool.
Done. Okay, so mine, the weirdest, not because of like what was said, but because of the circumstances. So this was from when I was studying in Rome, and we would have once a month they would just like free up the schedule to say you can travel if you want, right? So like you can hop on a train, go somewhere nearby. Like we didn't have any duties, right, that we had to stick around for. So one of the other seminarians and I, we went and traveled just out kind of to eastern Italy. We just wanted to see another part of the country. And while we were there, I was like, I just feel like I really would like to go to confession. Well, they only had confession in Italian. And so I had to look up. My Google search must have been weird. I had to look up the Italian words for various, sins and stuff. And I was just
Probably confess something you've never done before.
yeah, I mean, maybe. I have to. Well, there's a separate story I know from a priest who heard confessions in Italian, but he was mixing up what the Italian words were.
Oh, awesome.
And so
Goodness.
he
God's
thought,
grace. Yeah.
he was like, what is wrong with all these people?
whole village.
Yeah, whole village. Because he had, but anyway, that's
How is everybody killing everybody?
Yeah.
And I'm still hearing their confession.
But yeah, so that was a separate story. But I just remember that being such a unique experience to try to figure out, like, because I knew Italian decently while I was over there,
Sure.
but not to that level.
Well, and the grace of
Well,
the
yeah.
sacrament that comes through even a language barrier.
Yeah, and I could tell when he was saying the words of absolution still, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, because there's something nice about having those formulas that are just used universally.
Absolution Primavera.
For a second there, I thought you were on a serious track with something, but no.
No.
That's the obnoxious part of the intellect.
I would have said that in there and just said, just forgive me for everything I've done since I sat down here.
Yeah, since the spring, primavera, because that's, I think, the Italian word. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love these kind of shows, man. This is
Good.
this is what happens around the campfire.
That's right.
I was at a campfire with the troops of St. George were in my backyard, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. And I walk up to a group of guys, and we had done this question on the BeatiDudes before, but like they're just sitting there having a normal conversation, and I just go, "What's something that you're really grateful for that happened in 2024, and what's something that you're hopeful for in 2025 that we can all join you in praying for?" And they're like, "Man, you don't mess around." I was like, "I'm a BeatiDude,
Going
man.
deep, baby.
You gotta. It's every day is game day."
That's it.
Yeah.
This week especially, because we're recording an episode, I think, every week.
We are.
every day.
You are
Yeah.
at the front end of an ultra marathon. Is that right? Yeah. We actually,
I'm
That was
flattered.
last week.
yeah, we got a lot going on. But you know what? We got to reschedule with you. You showed up here not too long ago.
Yeah.
Maybe got a
Yes.
little bit of the stomach bug
I
in
did.
January.
It did.
Yeah. But you know what? BeatiDudes, we think on the fly. We made it happen.
Well, I'm sorry I bailed on you, but it was in your best
No.
interest.
Do you know what we did?
so-
I literally called somebody that we wanted on the show, and he was at his house. I'm like, drive up here. You're the guest. And it worked out really, really
Oh,
well.
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
His name's Joe Donikoski. It turned into a great show.
Yeah.
So God wanted that to happen at that moment. So
Well, fantastic.
it actually forced him to release his new app that Friday
Oh, awesome.
because we turned that show
Yeah,
around so
right.
fast. And they released a job searching app called Verso. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Very nice.
it's not our timing. Well,
That's
good.
right.
Well, listen, if you missed the Monday show, what's wrong with you? Like,
Or, as I would like to put it, go back and watch the Monday episode.
Check it out.
Enjoy it.
Share it with a friend.
Yeah. Share, like, and
isn't that
subscribe.
what I just said?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, it was implied.
We learned about thepines.org, which is the Pines Catholic Camp, and we had such a great time exploring really Catholic camp in general, but there's one in Big Sandy, Texas, just hours from Dallas. And we all have had our own experiences there that have been formative.
Yep.
Greg was nice enough to be a part of what's happening here at Lucid Private Offices, just a few states away from Wyoming Catholic College here at the BeatiDudes. I don't even know if we still have that agreement when this comes out, but
Probably
my
not.
agreement is I care.
Yeah, that's right. I agree that I care.
Yes. Greg, any last words or
You know, I
questions?
do want
or-
to say one more
Yeah,
thing. I'm not
please.
sure when this will air, but
Please.
if you're looking for some grown man stuff, we got a weekend dedicated to service projects.
No.
Yes.
Full
Nice.
grown man stuff going down, right? We might even blow something up, but with safety first.
When is it?
What's the date?
It is April 4, 5, and 6.
This will come out before that?
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to come out, fellowship with men, I'll make you builders of wood. Come with me and I'll make you builders of wood.
Nice.
We'll do some things. We'll eat steak. We'll have fish fry on Friday night because it'll be Lent. But it's a total men's
Super
weekend with power tools, barbecue.
Well, even
You
if this
know,
comes out
all
after
things-
that, we'll do
Your
some,
job sounds
some promo.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you, that sounds like we should maybe just do a couple of those this year. Just see how many we can fill up.
So we call it Night Up Weekend. So we
Okay.
partner
Night
with the Knights of
Night
Columbus.
Up.
You don't have to be a knight, but
Sure.
Night Up, you'll see that on the website at
Cool.
pines.org to come be a part of that stuff. It's cool.
So many good things happening. This is a year-round gig you got going, nonstop.
It doesn't stop. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. And there's a capital campaign underway that I've been approached about.
Well, good.
Yeah.
We have a lot of buildings that were there when we got there, and it's time to replace them.
Let's
So
build some buildings so when the next storms come, you can stay inside. You
just
don't have to
stay right
stand
where
out in
you
the
were.
middle.
just take a nap. That's
Exactly.
right. Yeah,
Exactly.
that'd be best.
All right. What a blessing to have Greg Price, a.k.a. Eagle, here along with all of the BeatiDudes. And you're one of the BeatiDudes if you're watching this. We're really grateful for you. it goes a long way for you to pay off friends to subscribe and enroll in the 5 Stars program. It's just click that button as many times as you can. Is that how that works? I don't know. Can you do it more
You
than
can
once?
do it once.
Okay, do it once.
From different emails. So log out, log back in.
Set up new email addresses.
Yes,
Yep.
please.
Thank you. Cool. Well, we got a lot of great stuff happening here in season 5, but Greg Price, you are certainly part of that. I enjoyed this hang around the spiritual
Enjoyed it, fellas.
campfire.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
It was
this was
awesome.
great. Thanks for joining us.
Next time we'll do an Acts retreat on air and we'll just divulge everything.
Maybe not.
The ratings would be pretty good on that one.
Probably.
Probably.
Maybe.
I don't know. All right. We will see all of you in the spiritual campfires of life. For the rest of you,
we will
See you in the Eucharist.
God bless you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join us at our undersized table, subscribe to the video version of the show on YouTube by typing @ that's the symbol @ so shift and 2 on your keyboard, @ the _ BeatiDudes on YouTube. We'll see you there.